Hello, Professor Wheeler. This is my midterm project for CIS3367. For my topic, I decided to research on the top U.S. metro areas for millennials, which is a question I believe many college students will have once they graduate and start looking for jobs as well as settling down. For my research, I read a lot of articles from the New York Times to the Chicago Tribune, as well as Business Insider. But the most reliable source that I found that I was able to use to collect my data was from the U.S. Census Bureau. This set of data here is for the 100 largest metropolitan areas for millennials. However, not all of the columns here were already organized in this fashion. So they had to be consolidated from the other sheets into this one sheet that we will be using to create the pivot tables and the slicers. Here in the main raw data set, we have the population size and the percentage of population of millennials in the area, and the population growth of millennials in the area, and the population of millennials with college degrees, as well as the percentage of millennials in the area that's actually living in poverty. So if we come to the dashboard here, the top pivot table here will show us the top 10 U.S. metro areas for millennials, and this was organized by population size. And the associated slicer with the first pivot table here will list the top 100 metro areas that will be filtered through these tabs here within the slicer. So once we click on each of the areas, we will be able to see the population size in that metro area. So we can take out the filter, and we were able to go back to the top 10 metro areas again by population size. Next set of data that I thought would be very interesting for us to also see the relationship is the top 10 metro areas by the population ratio of millennials, as well as the population growth of millennials in the area, which is in this sheet that was used to create the pivot table and the slicers that we have here in the dashboard. So for the population percentage, here is actually already organized from descending order. So the top population percentage here is already listed in the first filter in the slicer. We're able to press into it and examine that the city here in Utah, with the population percentage of 30.4% of millennials, has a growth rate of 5% in the area. So these two slicers, each for the population percentage as well as the area population growth rate for the area, is associated with this pivot table. So we can take the slicer filter out, and then we're able to see again the growth of these metro areas of the millennial population, as well as the percentage of millennials in all of the people living in that metro area. So I think this is good information for people to keep in mind. If you're moving to a city that has a lot of young people, it's going to be very lively for activities and for lifestyle, or will you be outnumbered by a lot more seniors in that neighborhood? So another item that I am personally very interested in is how many of the millennials living in the area also has a college degree, and does that affect the earning potential as well as, I guess, the quality of life. So in this worksheet, we have the data organized for the top 10 of the population percentage with college degrees, and also measuring up against that is the percentage living in poverty of millennials in the area. So if we come back to the dashboard, we're able to see here in the table on the bottom that will show here the numbers of the population in the area that has the college degree. These slicers, it's associated with this pivot table, will show if we present, again, it is organized in this area already in descending order for the top cities with most college degrees. And once we press into it, we are able to expand and see also the poverty percentage in that area. So the largest population with college degree in the US is actually in Boston, Cambridge, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire area, with a very low poverty rate of 11.39%, which is actually below the national average of, I believe today, when I researched on Google, it was just over 12.39%. So when we come back and look at the college degrees that are in the different metro areas across the top metro areas for millennials, we're able to see the difference in comparison with the poverty percentages. And if we take out the filter, we're able to go back and see the big picture. So I thought this was interesting for me to research for the midterm, because this was a question that I have been faced with, as well as many of my friends who have graduated over the years and have recently moved in different parts of the country to California and Texas, and some, like me, have stayed here in New York. So this was a very interesting project, and I was glad I had the chance to look deeper as far as where the top metro areas now are for the millennials. That these numbers would also provide more insight to both the professor and my other fellow classmates if they are also wondering about where they would like to move to, or which areas would be most suitable for millennials in America.